First is Wendy from WEA.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Wendy Rader-Konopolsky, for the record, with the Washington Education Association. And I sent you a letter a couple of days ago. I'm going to draw you back a little bit to an earlier part of today's conversation. And I wanted to, for the record, read this letter so that the public can hear it and can be on public record. So with your permission, it shouldn't take more than 3 minutes.
Go ahead, and I'll cut you off.
Sure. So today you were presented a summary of a meeting. Is this the mic or is this?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Today you were presented a summary of a meeting of the diverse stakeholders, which includes some very interesting and valuable insights. However, we were surprised by a couple of important features about that meeting and its outcome. Many important groups were invited, but we were not among them. This would have been less surprising had the invitee list not included other strong lobby and political advocacy groups, such as the League of Education Voters and Stand for Children. Where was the group that represents teachers, paraeducators, librarians, counselors, or any of the other essential staff that are represented by the WEA, an organization that has over 84,000 members, all in education, and all of them serving our diverse students in ELL, special education, and students of every color, creed, and sexual orientation and economic status all across the state. Perhaps it's not well known that WEA has very strong and active participation on issues of diversity. Here are a few of the things we do and participate in. Partnership with and sponsorship of many communities of color organization efforts and events. We have a full-time WEA Human Rights Coordinator, Future Native Teachers Initiative, Teaching Equity Conference, Cross-Cultural Competency Training, Culturally Responsive Instructional Strategies Training, English Language Learner Training, and we have a Human Civil Rights Conference for Educators of Color, which we invite you to the next time we have one. The organization also has a Human and Civil Rights Committee, and we support regional minority action committees and conferences in various districts throughout the state. It would have been most appropriate to have invited someone from our organization to this discussion, and all the more so as anti-union, anti-collective bargaining statements were elevated to its own section in the minutes, against which there was no union present to respond or object. We object to this inequitable approach to stakeholder input when the group that represents school employees and their union is excluded, while other groups who often espouse positions unsympathetic to those employees' unions are invited and provided a legitimate platform. And we object to your publicizing a document that is in your packet that addresses union issues in a negative way when no one from the union was invited to participate. Everyone has a right to free speech and opinions, but slurs and swipes against any group, especially when that group is not present or invited, does not speak well of the State Board of Education, and it does not show genuine support of tolerance and diversity. If you're truly interested in getting stakeholder input from representative and diverse groups that can provide the board with fair and valuable information, we suggest that you not exclude those most involved in the work of creating an excellent education for all of our students. Thank you for your time, and I'm hoping that I don't have to read a letter like this again to the board, and that we can find ways of working together more constructively and collaboratively. Thank you for your time.
Alan Burke.
Chair Cologne, member of the board, Alan Burke, for the record, Executive Director of the Washington State School Directors Association. First of all, before I start, a tip of the hat to Kevin Lafferty finishing the Boston Marathon. I figured that's a pretty big deal. I was going to say something about, age-wise and whatever, but as somebody as young and spry, as athletic as you, I'm sure it was routine, but nevertheless, it's a big deal. Congratulations. Okay.
Good lead in, Alan.
Yeah, good move. Anyway, I want to just tell the board that I did attend the Spanaway High School celebration. And before that, I talked to our board a little bit at our last meeting, and article about the Achievement Awards. And we got an interesting discussion about that as well too. This is nothing earth-shaking here, but I do want to say that, at least on the behalf of the board, that I try to explain to them the fact that we've done a lot of work with AAW and with the board itself, that the 40%, 60% split stayed with it. And I try to explain a little bit about how the high schools changed somewhat to foreshadow the U.S. Department of Education, a little more graduation rates, a little less on the growth. And then we got into growth, tried to explain SGPs, and Holly, not to pick on you, but if I had a quarter for everybody who said essentially the same thing. High-performing schools, you can't get an SGP score that measures growth, and I believe that's incorrect. Andrew can go do that as well too, but my point is, it's a pretty complex situation. And our board was saying, geez, if there's a message there, we know you gotta mess with it once in a while, but try to keep it as consistent as possible year to year, and try to explain it to everybody year to year. In Spanaway Lake, there was a lot of joy and happiness for people getting the awards, but I'm sure others that just didn't get were under the bar there a little bit, would wonder about how that was all there as well too. There's nothing you can do about it, but try to be as fair as possible. But the message is just try to be consistent, try to make it easy to understand, and minimally mess with it over the next few years so we can make it part of the institutional thing we do around the state and celebrate those wonderful things that are done. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary, and I'm sorry, I can't read the last name, but from Richland? Okay, so, Nova Gottman from the Workforce Club.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. For the record, my name is Nova Gatman, Legislative Director of the Workforce Board. I want to applaud OSPI for their extensive work to create course equivalencies for CTE, and applaud you for all of your work as well and your support of this movement. I urge your support of this approval. This work on course equivalencies will enable more students to prioritize their CTE education and not fall behind in their graduation requirements. Our state strategic plan, High Skills, High Wages, calls for increased opportunities for youth to connect to education with their career goals. CTE is an excellent way for students to have that connection to the world of work in their secondary education. Very pleased today to be here to support the important work that has been done so far, and I hope to see it continue even further. Thank you for your support for this work.
Debbie McClary from Kennewick.
I'm Debbie McClary, Current Technical Education Director for the Kennewick School District. And I also would like to thank you for your support of the Career and Technical Education course equivalencies. We've been working with frameworks for the past 10 years in our districts across the state. And this is a great opportunity to continue the rigor, relevance, and inclusion of the state standards. The work that has been done by our teachers has been very, very valuable, and this work done by the state provides some consistency and continuity amongst the framework work that has been done. So thank you so much for your support and the work of OSPI that has been done to date on these frameworks.
Claudia Cooley from Richland.
And good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Claudia Cooley, Career and Technical Education Director for the Richland School District, and I too want to share in my appreciation for your support of the course equivalencies for career and tech ed and the work that the EPIC organization has done. As Debbie has shared, we have been working with these frameworks for the past 10 years, and in this work, what we have found is that the communication between the academic side of our science and mathematics teachers and our CTE teachers has been excellent. We've seen tremendous outcomes as a result of that collaboration. Our frameworks have helped us really go down that road, and we've seen it be impactful, and we really appreciate the support that you have for this process, and we'd like to move forward with it and provide our districts with opportunities to have some that are selected or have ones that they have in place already. So thank you very much for your review and support of this effort.